have another original effect to share with you today that anyone can do right away. So as you can see, I have 8 cards of various value suits and colors. Now within this routine, we're going to be using a very powerful principle in physics. And that principle is, in deterministic systems, initial conditions decide everything. Okay? So what we're going to do here is with these various cards here that you just saw actually, I'm going to go ahead and give them what's called a Charlier shuffle to kind of give them an initial mix. Okay, so we're changing the initial conditions of the packet. But most importantly, I need you to come in here and use your magical psychic intuition to make the best cut that you believe is possible. So the spectator would just come in here and cut the packet wherever they would like and complete the cut. Okay, so just emphasize that the new ordering of these cards has now just been decided by the cut that they've imposed on this packet. Okay, and therefore everything from this point on will be a consequence of the specific cutting of the cards that they just now performed. Okay, so what do I mean here? So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the card value, and I'm going to move one card to the bottom for each letter in the card value name. Okay, so that's Jack. So J-A-C-K, eliminate that card. What's the new card value? Queen, Q-U-E-E-N, eliminate. 8, E-I-G-H-T, eliminate. Oh, the 8 again. E-I-G-H-T, eliminate. Oh, there's the queen again. Q-U-E-E-N, eliminate. Ace, A-C-E, eliminate. What about the last one? Jack, J-A-C-K, eliminate. Okay. So if those cards had been arranged in a different order relative to their card value names, we clearly would have ended on a different final card in this deterministic elimination process. But nonetheless, I have a written prediction off to the side. So let's just take a look at that here. Okay, so let's open this up. Okay, so the prediction is, if I can unstick it here, you, the spectator, will cut the cards exactly in a way that forces the Queen of Hearts to be the lone survivor. Okay. Okay, wow. If that's true, somehow I must have foreseen the initial state of these cards before we started this elimination process, which is truly a deterministic process. And more specifically, I would have to foresee the precise cutting of the cards that you would randomly perform before we began the elimination process. So my claim is that your cut has forced the Queen of Hearts to be what's called the lone survivor. And it did indeed. That is amazing. Okay, good job with that cut. And perhaps even a better job anticipating that you would cut the cards in such a way that we would finish with this outcome. That is unbelievable. Okay, so how is this done? Well, it's easy to do. Okay, so let me just show you here. So we're using the Generalized Australian Shuffle. So this particular sequence, where the numbers are referring to how many letters are in the card value name, this sequence 33454545, asterisk here indicates that that will be the lone survivor. And if you remember, when I showed the cards, the Queen of Hearts was at the bottom. It was that last card. Now this packet, once you set it up with cards of the right value length, can be freely cut or Charlier shuffled at the beginning, and then you just run this deterministic system of reading the top card value and moving that many cards to the bottom and then eliminating the next, and then looking at the next card value and so forth. Okay, so that truly is a deterministic procedure for which you were able to decide the initial conditions, in other words, the initial ordering of the cards before we began the process of elimination. Okay, so if you just set up the packet, check my packet, you'll realize that these numbers do correspond to the names of the cards that I had arranged. And then just remember, you are free to Charlier shuffle or cut the packet at the beginning only, and then go through this generalized Australian shuffle elimination. And you will finish with whatever 5-letter card that you choose to have right there. Okay, so it doesn't have to be the Queen of Hearts. It can be any card value that has 5 letters in its name. Okay, so you should be able to do this right away, and it really is most surprising. So thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.